So as that familiar music fades, we get a small glimpse into Ruka's past, though vague and terrifying as it might be. And we also find ourselves mere moments after the end of Chapter 1 when we had to defeat our poor friend Madoka. In her stead, though, we do find an item waiting for us. And it is what I think is supposed to be the final note from Madoka, probably mere moments before she fully bloomed. Not too much new information here, just going on about distortions of her face and personality, and going on and on about the moon and red and blood. But I think what is most interesting about this memo is the mention of a dark place, a dark room. And after Choshiro's chapter, we might be able to draw an assumption that she was probably talking about that secret room in the basement of Haibara Hospital. Overall, though, there isn't too much new in the archives room. Most importantly, though, you don't want to overlook this item on the ground here, as it's a very nice stash of blue crystals. Now, I think 10 is probably the maximum you're ever going to get, and this is probably a good time as any to make our first upgrade to Ruka's Camera Obscura. Now, you can probably tell what's most important via the cost of the stat. In this case, we're going to go ahead and work Power up to its first level. Power is probably going to be the most important thing to start off with, as we will be seeing in this chapter. Also, just because I have an overabundance of red crystals, I figure we might as well max out the blast lens and get a little bit of use out of that in this chapter. For right now, though, I mean, we found Madoka, so that got that small portion of the game out of the way, but we don't really have a clear idea as to where we need to go next. I mean, there was that mention of Ayako in Madoka's note, and there is this music that seems to be triggering some past memories in Ruka, but no idea where to start with that. But there is one last thing to get in the Aso Museum. Just an item sitting on the couch here. Also, I am going to start to be a little bit more careful when grabbing items, because those ghostly hands that we saw in Choshiro's chapter will start to appear a lot more as we progress through the game. So we do want to keep an eye out for those. It seems as if we needed a clue as to where we needed to go. The game was nice enough to give us a little hint in the form of this nurse vanishing ghost. And we are assaulted yet again with more lunar melody treatment. Not totally for certain that this would have been very therapeutic to anyone. Though I guess there is the possibility that maybe the recording has become distorted, or what we are hearing is just some warped interpretation from some ghostly entity, but all in all, it's not a very pleasant melody in the least. Maybe once we hear the original recording, it might sound completely different. For right now, though, I think that this ghostly nurse is showing us some means as to turn off this audio assault for right now. Wouldn't you know, waiting on the desk here are the controls to the PA system. So with this, we should be able to turn off that ghostly racket, but For some reason or another, the game does give you the option of not turning off the music, though I don't know why you would leave it playing. But along with turning that off, we do find a little bit of a nurse's log here. Kind of goes a little bit into how receptive the patients were in regards to the treatment. And it says that it was an unusually strong reaction, but a positive one. Though, I guess occasionally there were sometimes very negative reactions gotten from this lunar melody therapy. All in all, though, we at least turned off the music, though it doesn't seem like there's any other reason to stay in here, so I guess we'll get going. Though it does seem like someone's trying to give us a call on the intercom system. And it's coming from a very familiar room. So that friendly nurse has turned a little bit violent, though I get the impression that might have been from hearing Ayako's voice. I think once we saw this particular nurse being dragged down into Ayako's room pretty forcefully via her hair, I can only assume that might have been the end this nurse suffered from. But with our increased power, she is even less difficult than before. And for our troubles, we do get another letter, or note, about the music therapy. This one giving us a very clear little note that the musical score for the music therapy, for some reason, was being kept in Ayako's room. So in case we needed any more indication as to where we are heading next, we are definitely going to have to head down to room 207, even though I have some pretty strong reservations about doing that. But, you know, since we're passing by it, so we might as well check to see if there's anything new in Madoka's room. As of right now, I think only Misaki has entered Madoka's room, so this is going to be a brand new experience for Ruka. Though all in all, there isn't too much new in here. There is at least one new item waiting in the dresser here. And it's what I can assume to be possibly a childhood notebook from Madoka. Still, even for how long it is, it doesn't have too many words or too much new information. It just goes into some information that we probably already knew about the vanishing personality that people under Luna Sedata may suffer from, and also the strong possibility that this lunar melody might be able to trigger more of our past memories. Still, it ends on a pretty bleak note, especially considering what we know has happened to Madoka. And sadly, we can't stay in here with all of Madoka's lovely drawings. We have to put on our brave face and head down to room 207. Hopefully we can avoid Ayako this time around. So the room is pretty much how Masaki left it at the end of her chapter. Nothing too new. Now it looks like Ayako might be trying to give us a little hint. That little indentation in the wall might be something for us to investigate. Before we do that, though, we didn't really get too much of a chance to look around the room during the fight we had as Masaki with Ayako, so we have a few items to pick up, such as a few more blue crystals, and this item hidden amongst all the decimated doll parts, which is just another stone mirror that we currently cannot carry, but we'll keep in mind for later. So on the bed here we find some reaffirmation about what we already knew about Ayako. She has some pretty strong telltale signs of a sociopathic nature, such as a lack of empathy and a strong tendency towards violence. But we already kind of knew that. Overall, though, I really do enjoy the setting of Ayako's room. The lighting is really creepy, and all the doll parts, all the arms hanging from the ceiling, are all individual physics objects. So, as we move past them or through them, the character we're playing as is going to react to them. Also, as you can probably guess, as this room is strewn with doll parts, that there's a Hazuki doll somewhere in here, though it wasn't that big doll. Instead, the Hazuki doll we're looking for is hidden away behind that bigger doll. For now, though, that's pretty much all we can do in here, so let's go ahead and check and see what Ayako was trying to draw our attention to. Oh! It was a mean trick, Ayako. It seems that we are not going to be getting out of a fight with Ayako anytime in the near future. Though, we are upgraded in power, so this could technically be easier, though you really can't put too much past Ayako. She is a fierce enemy to fight. Especially with all these hanging doll arms, it can be pretty disorienting. But the good news is, as you can probably tell by the increased number of moons in our viewfinder, we are doing increased damage. So the fight goes a little bit quicker, but as you can probably tell, she can get very snakily close. That even though we do have increased overall damage, it usually takes about double the amount of time to reach that maximum amount of power. So that's why it's not only good to work up the overall power that you do, but also the speed at which your viewfinder will charge up power. Still though, for that 1 point into power, we have doubled our overall damage. We should be getting through fights a lot quicker from now on. I get a feeling, though, that's not the last time we're going to be seeing Ayako, but for right now we have subdued her, so we can now finally get around to investigating that thing she was trying to draw our attention to. And it appears to be a secret bedroom. More importantly, though, on this rocking horse here, we have what we were looking for, which is the score, at least in some small portion, to the Lunar Melody. Ruka also remembers that there's a piano in the dining room. We're probably going to have to use that in just a little bit, but in addition, we find a mysterious black notebook. Now, the black notebook seems to have something of a medical tinge to it. It goes into the fact that the Lunar Melody does indeed bring back past memories, but in regards to one person that had their memory brought back, it caused them to commit suicide. So maybe sometimes remembering is not always the best thing. Though I doubt that's going to be stopping Ruka's journey. Still, I have to wonder whose bedroom this might have been. Perhaps it was Ayako's real bedroom. Sure, we'll probably find out in the future, but in case you were curious about this other door here, as you can probably guess, it is currently locked. But keep in mind that that door is going to be coming up later on. Also, my doll sense is tingling. We do have a naughty doll hanging out in the rafters. Very, very easy to miss out on this one. But with our newfound music in hand, and I want to continue getting back Ruka's very cryptic and terrifying memories, I guess our next destination is going to be down in the dining room. For the most part, though, it is a pretty uneventful trek through the winding hallways of the second floor. Just the lovely breeze and curtains blowing against us. Nice little breather after that terrifying ordeal with Ayako. But another very familiar sound that we've heard quite a few times while heading through the lobby. Seems that we have another ghostly phone call to answer. And as if we needed any reaffirmation in regards to Madoka's current state, that ghostly phone call pretty well sums up the fact that more than likely Moka is very much dead at this point. But as we head to the dining room, we are greeted by a brand new ghostly figure. Definitely a lot better dressed than most of the ghosts we've been seeing so far. Maybe that woman was not a patient. Though, at least by the garb, it was a bit hard to tell if she was dressed up for a social gathering or for a funeral. But with that, we have finally made our way back down to the dining room. Overall, there's nothing really too new in here, though there is one thing to keep an eye out for in the center table here. And you do want to be very careful. You don't want to lose this because it is a very nice little storehouse of blue crystals. More often than not, I'm less worried about losing red crystals than I am blue crystals, just for the mere fact that most of the power lenses are situational at best. But it's time to see some more adaptation of the Wii motion controls for the Wii Fatal Frame 4 entry into the series. We have a brand new source of puzzlement here, and it's going to require us to play a little bit of the piano. Now, all we have to do is follow the tempo and play the notes that we were shown before. And to do that, we're going to have to use the pointing mechanic, or the Wiimote, to point at each individual key. Not too difficult for now, but it will become difficult later. So with another quick flash, we get a little bit more of Ruka's past, along with our next goal, which is an elevator, which, if you recall, is pretty close by. For right now, though, before we head into the elevator, I think we're going to continue that next time. Hopefully you will join me on the next part of Fatal Frame 4.